Hello, everybody, and today we is going to be reading His Infatuation Slasher's Ex Listener Up in Here, Book 3, and we are currently in Chapter 71, but we're going to go back a chapter for the purpose of the recap. So this chapter is kind of short, so it'll be kind of pretty and easy and simple how it goes. So, long story short, a friend of ours asked for a favor if we could care for if we could babysit for a particular family that she was sadly not able to due to scheduling and blah blah blah, to aka the Brahms family. And we, after much convincing from our friend, we agreed. But then reluctantly, after quick moment to breathe, we decided to tell our partners, which, if anyone who has ever read this series knows, that doesn't really ever really go so well, and like we predicted, didn't go so well, and it just kind of started going downhill from there. So now in chapter 71, we're about to see the absolute crap show that they're going to create because of our said decision. So before we get into it, if we have any other warnings or anything like that, it will pop up right about now. Chapter 71. No way you could have known. Frustration flooded immediately through your veins, and you silently cursed. Picking up who had wailed almost at once and realizing instantly what said person was going to think from the last of your former conversation. Fuck. Hold on, let me see. Wondering why you even lived in this house sometimes, you ripped your wrists effortlessly out of Billy's grasp and demanded that the two of them stayed in the living room earlier. Anger filling your thoughts while you spun around and gripped Norman's wrist before he could even say anything. Fortunately for you, he didn't. The dark-haired male astonished by your unanticipated annoyance and sudden exasperation. Staying quiet, however, you tugged him back upstairs and entered your bedroom, letting Mikhail stalk you from the corner of the room, which you left the door open a crack. Great. Just great. Here, you were only going to explain to Norman why you were planning on leaving for a week. But now Michael, hell no, Mikhail was watching you also? Could this get any worse? Could it? I mean, must not wish yourselves that, honey. Is it true? Are you leaving, YN? Norman stammered in fear, whispering the last part of his question like he was traumatized by his unexpected discovery. Norman, why don't you just sit down on the bed while I explain real quick? You commented with a friendly smile, forcing yourself to be kind as Norman's question predictably set Mikhail off too. You're leaving? And just where do you think you're going? Mikhail scribbled down sternly, his possessive personality flaring up the second he heard about you disappearing from this household. Shit. Mikhail, it isn't what you think. I swear, you replied after reading his unhappy scroll. The white-masked stalker standing in front of you while you sat to the left of Norman and suppressed a sigh. I'm not necessarily leaving you guys, per se. You're not, but earlier you said you misunderstood my words and then blew them massively out of proportion. You firmly interrupted, reprimanding him and crossing one leg over the other. Aggravation swirling across your face the moment Billy and Stu also entered the room, despite you ordering them to stay downstairs, just like you always do. Oh yeah? How so? Norman... I'm sorry. You just mean... Never laugh. Okay. Norman shot back sadly, feeling hurt by your accusations before tears pricked up either side of his eyes. I didn't misunderstand. You were telling those two anyway, remember? Clenching the end of your bed covers, you felt completely silent for a couple of moments, Anger fueling your mind whilst you thought back to what you said earlier. I'm not leaving you guys. You spoke in a monotone voice, doing your best to remain tolerant towards Norman and keep him under control. I promise, damn it. This is why I tell everyone at once. Tell us all what? Another voice carefully said, snapping you straight out of your negative thoughts and making a surprise flutter, and making a surprise flutter directly across your face when you noticed Hannibal leaning lightly against your bedroom door, resting next to the room's doorframe like he'd done, letting you introduce Chucky. His expression was just as polite and pleasant as always. His smile charming while he waited calmly for you to answer his question and reply. Well, I'd like it if Chucky and Jason knew what I wanted to say too. Stumbling for words, nervousness overtook your response, your anger fading and leaving you feel tremendously shy instead. Crap! Oh, what about Pennywise and Krueger? Do they not deserve to know as well? Hannibal innocently inquired, taking your words into account and wondering where you were going with your remark. Or could it be that you don't want them to know where you're inevitably going? No! You bursted out in alarm, standing up within sheer seconds and already panicking over what he just theorized. Then you took a deep breath and composed yourself, keeping your feelings calm and collected so you stayed peaceful. No, it isn't like that. If it was, I would have made that perfectly clear by now. The reason I haven't added them here to explain is because they can teleport, and they therefore still interact with me during tomorrow. So this isn't very important to them, in my opinion. You don't think so? He thought it over casually. The psychiatrist watching Billy and Stu glare over said comment whilst Miguel and Norman shared the same cold look also. How curious. I also wonder how everybody else will respond once I go and retrieve Charles and Krueger, that is. Wait a second! Hold the brakes! Oh my god, no, girl. That's fucking right. At this point, I would just record a whole video and just send it to them. This ain't worth it. This is not worth it. Okay. Wait a second! You fretted in frantic fashion, worrying over his weirdly angelic threat and rushing over to stop him. That's far too soon. They don't want to hear about it so instantly, and all at the same time, too. Better late than never, my right, dearest? Hannibal sweetly remarked, his teasing tone causing your eyes to widen and your body to go into shock. Luckily, Chucky wouldn't care, but Freddy, who knows how he would react? And apart from Billy and Stu, you hadn't even told the others yet. At least let me tell you guys first. You requested weakly, clasping your hands over your chest and trying to regain some confidence about tomorrow. This is important to me. I made a promise. A promise to a friend. Oh, you did? Which friend was it? Do we know them by any chance? Norman chimed in with interest, his excitement and curiosity making you feel even more awkward telling the truth towards them all. I'm not sure if you guys do know them or not. You trailed off this, I don't know how to say that word, shifting from foot to foot before hugging your arms to console yourself. They're just a friend I made from one of my past psychology classes, so Rose, isn't it? Hannibal brought up smoothly, stopping in the hallway and turning around so that he could shoot you another one of his soft-hearted smiles. Rosemary McLean? How? You fearfully responded, the intelligent man's mention of your friend creeping you out and putting you on edge immediately. How do you know which friend I was talking about? Let's just say that I've done my research. He told you with a trace of mischief, his smile now twisting into a devious grin as he walked back in front of you, placing both of his hands delicately onto your waist so he could whisper something else into your ear. I know more about you than anyone, YN. More than your relatives, more than your friends, more than the others living in this house. Maybe even more than yourself. So hiding something from me would be useless from this point forwards, because I already know. I already know where you wish to go tomorrow. But she rang me earlier this evening, you declared stubbornly, holding both of his shoulders and attempting to show some sort of assertiveness. There's no way that you could have known what we were talking about. No way whatsoever. No? You don't believe me? The psychiatrist smugly chuckled, his grin now forming into a smirk once he picked up on how embarrassed you've become and how self-conscious you began to behave. That's all right. I understand. After all, it's not often society picks up on how I work things out. There's no way you could have known. You argued sternly, your agitation causing his sadistic nature to increase and murmur against your lips instead of speaking normally. Why, of course not. He seductively cooed, holding you closer to his body and leaning his forehead against yours in the process. There's no way I could have known that this friend of yours asked you to babysit in her place for a week in the Heelshire mansion or anything. Now could I? Chapter 72. 7 days. How? You retorted sharply. Whoopsie. Your cheeks glowing a deep scarlet as your humiliation expanded exponentially. How did you even know that? That's a secret. Hannibal mischievously hummed, pressing his lips against yours a moment later and teasing you during the time being. I just do. Okay, let's just leave it at that and finish explaining to everybody. You explained with even further embarrassment, breaking apart from his tender hold and trying to avoid his gaze also. Of course, he agreed softly, taking both of your hands in his to give them a gentle squeeze right then and there. Wouldn't want to keep anyone else waiting now, would we? Exactly. You nervously replied, shyness flooding your face while you tried hastily to brush off your words with nothing more than a simple laugh. So, I'll be going inside my bedroom now. Seeing as you already know where I'll be going tomorrow, I'll just leave you be in. I never said that I was okay with you leaving tomorrow, mio frolino. Sorry if I said that wrong, girl. The psychiatrist pointed out with dark amusement. Your boyfriend placing his fingertips lightly against his lips and giving you an okay, guys, extremely gentlemanlike kiss. Well, whilst I appreciate the love and affection, I would rather get to explaining and just get this over with. You told him truthfully, hiding your faintly blushing facial features once he acted so charmingly. Get to explaining what exactly? Norman piped up an innocent tone, not understanding what you meant or where your response was heading. So why the fuck is everybody up here again? Chucky questions uncaringly, joining all of you in your bedroom and causing you to feel even more awkward. It's kind of boring being left alone downstairs, doing absolutely nothing apart from watching the TV in the living room, you know? Spill the motherfucking beans already, why don't you? That's what I've been saying. Perhaps I needed to tell everybody why I was leaving for a week, without anyone flipping out. You stressfully sighed, your next comment forcing Billy, Stu, Mikael, Norman, and Chucky to grow strangely surprised. Hannibal obviously wasn't, but that was because he already knew. Somehow. Girl, you do not know how many creeps. Like, there has been legit cases of people, like, putting, like, miniature cameras, like, since they got the phone, you don't know what they could have applied to that shit for real without you seeing. Like, you don't know. Like, you just don't know. Eyes and ears everywhere, apparently. Cameras in that house, you don't know. You never know. You're leaving for a week? The fuck? Why? Chucky demanded to know coldly, glaring before drawing out his weapon and holding it out. Why are you leaving me behind with these freaks? Oh my. Seems as though you don't want Wyan here to leave. Hannibal angelically cooed, purposely toying with the red-haired doll and trying to rile him up. How cute. God, I hate you. Chucky muttered under his breath moodily, his sulky attitude starting to show while he did his best to ignore the patronizing slasher standing directly to the left of him. I think we'd all like to know why you're leaving for a week tomorrow. Billy cut in with a sour expression, Stu nodding in agreement before adding fuel to the fire. After all, you never actually gave us a motive or a real reason. Well, I was about to before you two exploded and then Norman took things the wrong way. You firmly stated, standing in the middle of your bedroom and facing everyone with false courage. But all right. The actual reason is I'm leaving tomorrow morning for a week. is because I have to fill in for a friend. I have to babysit a kid for 7 days, somewhere in the UK. You, you're just babysitting? Norman repeated with a surprised glance, his eyes widening after he'd listened to what you'd cautiously told them all. Babysitting for somebody in the UK? For a friend? You're leaving to babysit somebody else's kid. Billy clarified bitterly, feeling betrayed and resentful both at the same time. Careful, Billy. Remember what we talked about. Stu comfortingly jumped in, giving him a hug and speaking to him all at once. But this isn't fair. I know it isn't. We are being left behind again. Well, not exactly. It's not like I'm a professional babysitter or anything. You unhappily mumbled, Billy's reaction not making you feel any better about the whole situation. I'll be stepping in for a friend for 7 whole days. And then I'll be returning straight back home, okay? That's all. It's just to take care of a kid. Nothing more, nothing less. Scribbling his thoughts down on his notepad furiously, Mikhail passed his response over to your hands with a selfish and angry stare, his piece of paper causing you to release another sigh of dejection and pass it back to him irritably. There we go. Absolutely not. You're not going anywhere where I can't see you. How upsetting can 7 days possibly be to you guys? It's just me. I'm nothing special. You impatiently retaliated, huffing shortly afterwards before rolling your eyes. Nothing special. Norman stuttered with a tearful tone, his adoring attitude of you dancing into play the moment you doubted yourself. You really think that you're nothing special? Well, I'm grateful for the kind words. I don't think I'm this important, you know? It's only 7 days after all, and I personally think that you're of exceedingly high importance, mi amor. Hannibal disagreed with your words sympathetically, wrapping his arms around your waist and wanting to be as soothing as possible towards you. Of course you'd say that. You mentioned in a sarcastic fashion, raising your eyebrows and knowing that this wasn't going to end well. You always act like you're some sort of charming, princely character, one who's been written to say things just like that to pacify somebody else. Careful, you sound like you're about to break the fourth wall or something. He taunted jokingly, his reply causing you to release a sigh and wondering how the others would react. Please don't go. I can't keep my eye on you if you go and babysit some random kid in Britain. I'm begging you here. Mikhail wrote you in a pleading scrawl, showing you his notepad a second or two after you'd previously finished your conversation with the psychiatrist. Mikhail, you sighed his name in a troubled tone of despair, giving him his notepad back before moving back down and sitting on your bed. I don't have a choice. I promised my friend, and I'm not going back on my word. I don't give a shit. Do whatever the fuck you want. Chucky shrugged it off uninterestingly, turning around and heading back into the living room to switch on the television like usual. But why? Norman dramatically wailed, flinging his arms around you from the side so he could hug you tightly. Why would you agree to such a thing? Because it's what friends do for each other? Excuse me. Because it's what friends do for each other. You taught Norman strictly, hugging him back so he didn't go overboard and emotionally break down. I mean, we could just take Rose out and be done with it. You heard Billy murmur under his breath darkly, glaring at the floor and losing control like he did before. Billy, that's not a good idea. That's not what YN would want now, is it? Nice. Oh, wait, hold on. Excuse me, guys. Okay. So this is a flashback and whatnot, this little area, and then, okay. Hurt Rose, and I will literally hit you both with a phone. You threatened icily, your fury flaring up like before you flashed a glare straight back at them. You understand me? Because you'd better. How do you even know about that? You'd left by then. Stu spoke in puzzled surprise, remembering the library discussion the three of you had conversed in and frowning from confusion. That's a secret. You copied Hannibal's words from the past cunningly, behaving casual while also holding your hands together. I just do. Chapter 73, Sunday night. What, huh? Billy bursted out angrily, not finding your response to be quite as funny as you were, Hannibal. The psychiatrist smiling mischievously at how you currently just mock them. There's no way you could have known. No? Interesting. Well, I hope you enjoy disappointment from the time being then. You replied with lack of emotion, not caring why you suppressed a sigh and decided on what to say next. You've changed since living here, YN. Stu brought up randomly, Billy nodding this time around and causing her to stand still in surprise, not expecting those two to bring up such blunt words. No, I haven't. You firmly retorted, their remark forcing you to feel awkward and defensive. Sure, girl, with those people, you're different than you used to be, YN. You're not the same. Billy replied uneasily, taking a step forwards so he could hold one of your hands in his and give it a gentle squeeze. Leave it alone. Now. She's perfectly fine. Hannibal told them in a dangerously low voice, distrusting those two immediately and finding them incredibly suspicious both at once. Leave what alone? We haven't done anything, but you clearly have. Stu fired back spitefully, behaving viciously protective of you and drawing out his trustworthy knife. Excuse me? How dare you accuse us of doing something to YN? Norman venomously snapped at the two, bringing a weapon of his own and staring them down with nothing but 100% hatred. Nobody's done anything to me. I've just changed over the past few months, alright? I'm not going to stay the same forever. You spoke sincerely, honestly flowing through your tone as you calmed down the conflicting atmosphere and carefully prevented any future fighting from starting. But you... Why, dearest, why don't you start getting ready for bed, while the rest of us leave you be? It's growing oddly late, wouldn't you agree? Hannibal commented softly, taking a step closer to you so he could place a hand softly on top of your shoulder. You manipulative bastard! Billy hissed at him with a hateful fury, lunging towards him so he could attack and instantly strike up a fight. Acting so calm and collected, all you do is all you can what? So all you can do is kick us out for the night. No, I believe it's called keeping one's best interest at heart. But whatever you two lowlives wish to name it is fine by me. The psychiatrist responded patronizingly, shrugging his shoulders and moving to the side so he could avoid said attack. Lowlives. Stu repeated after the psychiatrist in resentment, leaping behind Billy and doing his best to destroy Hannibal the second he heard that statement. Hannibal, I wouldn't. You wordly warned him, not wanting a fight to begin once Miguel had pulled you out of the way and next to his side possessively. That's going way too far. I don't think so. Norman mumbled hatefully, crossing his arms and behaving moodily. If anything, I think they got exactly what they deserved. All they did was lose control. Are you really sure about that, girl? Do we need to go back a chapter or two? You reminded with the rest of them with an anxious tone, wanting to facepalm and groan at the very same time. It's not that big of a deal. Just calm down already. Calm down? You want us to calm down after they accused us of doing something to you? He laughed with insanity, acting ridiculously unstable and bringing out his weapon also. Please do, Billy. Stu, please just go home. I think it's best that the both of you do. You desperately decided, biting your lip and stepping in to diffuse the raging conflict. I have to pack for tomorrow and get ready for bed anyway. But this isn't fair! Billy snapped frustratingly, grasping your wrist and tugging you closer to the two of them instead of the others. It's only for a week, you mentioned in a very nervous voice, more worried, washing over your veins when Miguel shoved him strongly to the side and broke his hold on you without a second thought. I'm surprised you haven't noticed it yet, but life isn't fair. Hannibal told the other male smoothly, shaking his head from sarcasm before raising his eyebrows at the two slashers without a care in the world. We're not stupid. We already know that. Stu argued with a stubborn expression, clenching his fist before gripping his knife heatedly. This is a terrible idea. Surely you can't agree with this. Billy brought up distrustfully. holding the knife and his knife in his other hand while arguing too. I mean, come on, guys. I may hate you all considerably, but this is ridiculous. A week? Who knows what could happen during that time? I have to agree. I didn't give my full approval when I first thought about it. Hannibal placidly admitted, mulling over his former thoughts while keeping his arms folded in the process. A week away from myself is no laughing matter, especially when we're already so far apart. Of course you'd only think about yourself, Stu murmured irritably, staring at him with nothing but with the utmost of hatred. Why wouldn't I? You all mean nothing to me. The psychiatrist pointed out indifferently, leaning against the wall while staying relatively close to you. The only thing here that interests me is YN. You absolute asshole. Billy rudely insulted, taking a step or two towards him so he could initiate a second confrontation. Look, you hurriedly talked to them all, standing in the middle of everyone while holding your hands around yourself. I know this idea doesn't exactly appeal to you all, and I know it's probably not everyone's favorite plan, but it's only for 7 days, and I promised somebody I'd trade out for them. It's only babysitting for someone else's kid. And hey, you can always just call me if you're missing me so much. Really? Norman Norman happily exclaimed, clapping his hands together before bouncing forwards with excitement. Do you really mean that, YN? Sure? You answered unsuringly, your awkwardness shining through whilst you engulfed him into an overwhelming embrace. I think it was the opposite way, but yeah. Yay, I can't wait to call you YN, he sung cheerfully, his mood changing in the drop of a hat and switching to a more happy-go-lucky one instead. Oh, same. He decided with a kind-hearted response, giving his body a squeeze and comforting him significantly. It'll be fun. No, I'm coming with you. You're not going by yourself. That's ridiculous. Miguel scribbled over to you a minute or two later, his psychotic and possessive handwriting making you entertainingly moan and hand his note back to him. It's not that ridiculous. Stalk me if you really want to. You sighed in annoyance, growing stressed out and aggravated by his obsessive nature. Fine, I will. Try me. Miguel's next message showed just how enraged he truly was. The pale-faced stalker's glare and stubbornness made you wonder how okay he seriously was. Good. Now everyone can let me get changed. Please? Alone. Alone? No, girl, it's alone. You finished the conversation strictly, glancing at your phone and noticing just how late the time had gotten. You can't be serious. Billy interrupted wildly, his eyes constricting and his smile contorting into an unhinged one. The male started to laugh as Stu flashed you an uncomfortable look. Well, come on. YN, come on now. Billy, now's not the time at the moment. It's too late for that now. Stu quietly spoke, placing his hand against his friend's shoulder and attempting to stop him from starting to speak with you. It's only for a week. You have a phone, remember? It's not that long. But 7 days! Billy shrieked unstably, stomping his foot and swinging his knife around like a crazy person. We can't survive without YN for that long. But you did beforehand for 9 years. What's going on, bro? Honestly, can't you two at least show her some sort of decency whilst around her? Hannibal discouragingly announced, traces of disgust lingering within his tone once he judged them without any ounces of regret whatsoever. We're still sleeping together, right, YN? Norman asked smugly, throwing some shade at Billy and Stu while acting angelic as well. If I can actually get changed in the next half hour, then sure, you coolly complained, flopping backwards on your bed and staring at the ceiling aimlessly. Nobody seems to be leaving and letting me get changed for some strange reason. I wonder why that is. My apologies, Bellissima. I'll leave you be now. The psychiatrist pleasantly apologized, placing a kiss delicately against your hand a few seconds later. Thank you, Billy, Stu, Norman, Miguel. You called each and everyone's names carefully, calming down once you felt moderately more mellow. Mind leaving me alone now? This is so stupid. Sure. Stu unhappily agreed, Sighing due to having to pull Billy forcibly out of the room. I'll be back shortly. Norman cheered joyfully, giving you a soft-hearted wave before leaving you alone to get changed for the night. Miguel begrudgingly disappearing from sight, too. It's just, before we start on this chapter, y'all, it, like, I know I haven't read this book in a fat minute, but oh my god, the memories of flashbacks are hitting me hard, bro. Oh my god, I'm like, oh, what? Funny you mentioned that, because remember this, and that? Oh, funny you mentioned that. You remember this as well? That's interesting, but then, like, you were fine with her for 9 or more so years. That's funny that y'all say that, though. That's real funny. No, guys, because the way I would be bringing up facts is insane. It'd be the craziest but funniest thing ever happened. So I gotta say, that's all I gotta say. Anyways. Anywho. I bet that's how y'all are too. Just like, actually, that's incorrect. I remember this. Me too, y'all. Me too. Anyways, chapter 74. Morning Departure. Throwing everybody else with a polite wave, as well as Norman, you waited to shut the bedroom door and switch on into a fresh new set of pajamas, folding your previous clothes into a new washing pile before picking out an outfit for tomorrow altogether. Usually, you didn't feel the need to get ready for the next day, but seeing as though you needed to pack in the morning and call your professor in order to cancel your psychology courses for the week, you only felt it was only necessary to explain why exactly you wouldn't be around for these upcoming 7 days. Thankfully, Freddie didn't care too much about you leaving the main estate, mostly because that meant that you got to spend more time with him and less time with the others. But you just ignored his arrogant attitude and focused on getting ready for Monday morning anyway. After another stressful and nightmarish sleep with the dream demon, you woke up on your phone's alarm before flicking it off, giving Norman a gentle hug so he was light-hearted, just like usual. Then, when you had calmed down from yesterday, you sat up and swung your legs over the bed, calling your professor and explaining to her why you wouldn't be around for a week. She was moderately understanding, seeing why Rosie needed your help and why you needed to cancel your sessions for 7 days. After you called your teacher and packed a suitcase, Rose texted you the address and time you needed to be there. Your friends still being tremendously thankful and relieved due to you being able to catch a taxi in the early afternoon, after breakfast. Norman, of course, wasn't too happy. Miguel despised your plan for the week. Billy and Stu were just hanging around outside the minute you'd woken up. Chucky seemed to remain uncaring. And Hannibal, well, you couldn't exactly tell. But despite that, you'd asked him to talk to Jason about why you wouldn't really be around for a bit anyway, to which he politely agreed. Hopefully, he'd keep his promise and stay true to his word. Billy and Stu promising to tell Jason as a backup. Are you sure that you'll tell him over at Camp Crystal Lake? You hesitantly reminded Hannibal, Billy, and Stu about Jason, feeling unsure how loyal they'd really be. You have my word, mio Teresio. I said that wrong, but sorry, y'all. Hannibal vowed charmingly, flashing you a sweet smile as you completed speaking after breakfast. Maybe. Billy sourly stated, standing outside next to Stu and behaving disagreeably. Billy? Stu sighed in disappointment, placing a hand on his shoulder like last night and giving it a soft squeeze. This isn't what we agreed on, remember? Yeah. Billy muttered under his breath, shrugging it off and huffing instead. I know. I promised that I'd tell him exactly where you'd gone. I'll be back in a week. It'll fly by, okay? You'll see. You consoled them comfortingly, giving each of the slashers a gentle hug and a loving kiss on the cheek. So don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it! Norman emotionally wailed, half whispering and half crying after he'd watched you pull your suitcase towards the front door. How can I not even worry about it? 7 days, Ryan. 7 whole days! Well, yeah, but before you could calm Norman, a beep from the outside made you jump, realizing that it was just the taxi driver alerting you of his sudden arrival. Apologies, miss. The taxi driver called out to you from the driver's seat, the male person being naturally cheerful and upbeat. I didn't know how else to catch your attention. Oh, no, that's quite all right. You responded happily, pretending to brush it off and behaving like everything else was going as planned. But then you turned to the others, to everybody in general, and took a deep breath, wanting to explain why there was a taxi driver there. Sorry for the sudden taxi driver, guys. Rose texted me this morning saying that Mr. and Mrs. Heelshire actually usually pay for their next nanny's arrival, and the timing would be a tad bit off about during 9:30 and 10:30. How bizarre. I don't particularly recall giving you, or them, our address, or sharing their next nanny's whereabouts, Hannibal commented, with a curious tone of voice, his confusion starting both him and the taxi driver. No? Well, how strange. The Heelshires gave me your address from the get-go. Sorry, sir. The taxi driver politely apologized, his puzzled expression making the psychiatrist pleasantly shake his head and shift back into his relaxed state once more. I swear I didn't give away where you all live. You murmured towards the rest of the slashers urgently, flashing Hannibal a worried glance and feeling nervous. Really, I wouldn't. I know you wouldn't. Hannibal sweetly smiled, curling his arm around your waist and giving you a gentle cuddle as reassurance. After that, he turned forwards and threw the taxi driver another charming smile, acting naturally calm. I'm sure that there's been a slight misunderstanding, and I accidentally gave our address to one of them some time beforehand. Nothing personal. Nothing personal? Norman cried in alarm, appearing by the front door and clasping his hands against his chest. How can you say that? We never... I'm extremely confused, but I'd best be on my way regardless. You bashfully brought up, reaching down to pick up your suitcase and shove it into the back of the taxi. Luckily for you, however, the taxi driver got out of the car and picked it up for you. Not to worry, miss. The Heelshires have paid for extra assistance during your arrival before your future assessment. The taxi driver explained kindly, tucking your suitcase in the back of the car prior to shutting it. They did? How considerate of them. You shyly responded, doing your best to let down your guard and be pleasant once you'd said one final goodbye to the others and climbed into the backseat of the taxi. I'll be sure to thank them straight afterwards. YN! Norman sobbed your name with sorrow, his gaze clouded from dejection while almost begging you not to go. Please, please don't leave us. Please don't leave us. I'll do anything. Will you actually shut up and stop crying? No. Okay, then no. I'll be back within a week. I promise. You soothed him sympathetically, giving them all a smile and a wave before the taxi driver revved up his engine once again. Unfortunately, your partners we weren't really handling your departure very well. Norman, having bursted into tears, Billy and Stu, looking furious, Miguel, glaring from dislike, and Hannibal, well, you couldn't exactly tell. On one hand, he could be sending you a friendly-looking smile, but on the other hand, it could be a false one, sending an insincere and deadly smile instead. And, the crazy thing is the fact that we have to worry about this, even though they're our partners, is, insane work. I'm like, Jesus. Chapter 75. Meeting the Heelshires. And here I thought we were friends till the end. A familiar tone maliciously taunted, the voice catching you off guard and therefore freaking you out. Guess not. Chucky? You gasped in alarm, shushing the good guy doll with your forefinger and glancing at the taxi driver the moment you realized that Chucky had snuck into the car with you. How did you get in here? Wasn't all that hard. The red-haired doll shrugged carelessly, leaning against the opposite seat and stretching like he couldn't care less. I had nothing better to do, so I decided to go on your journey instead. What's the problem? What's the problem? What's the problem? You panicked in horror, biting your lip and looking at the driver with concern. What if the taxi driver ends up spotting you? Jeez, you need to relax, lady. That motherfucker's wearing earbuds. Chucky told you curtly, grasping your wrist so he could pull your finger away from his face. Listening to music? And even if he wasn't, I'm not dumb. I'd still figure out a way in. Somehow. Oh my god. You shakily laughed, elbowing him in the side and breaking his hold on you moments later, What if the Heelshire couple end up seeing you? What if the Brahms kid ends up seeing you? Huh? Huh? So what if he does? I always had a thing with kids. Chucky replied smugly, his retort causing you to raise your eyebrows and become sarcastic. Yeah, something's telling me that you're bullshitting me there. No offense, buddy. You dryly retaliated, rolling your eyes while he secretly became impressed by your sharp responses. Damn, girl. Didn't expect you to reply like that. Perhaps I should have given you more credit. He chuckled in a psychotic amusement. Crossing his arms and finding you funny lets you found him hilarious. Especially when he started to complain about how long the driver was there, how long the driver over there was taking. Don't worry. A lot of people tend to skip out on giving me more credit. You teased playfully, messing around and giving him a shrug just like he had a few seconds beforehand. So, how much do you know about this kid? Or Chucky wondered casually, shooting you a grin as he struck up a conversation and socialized in the meantime. To be honest, it was nice of him to thaw towards you, considering he didn't know much about you in the first place. I wish that I did, but I don't. You truthfully told him, shaking your head before crossing your arms and being completely honest. All I know is that he's an 8-year-old boy and that he apparently needs looking after. Well, I won't turn you in if you decide to throw in the towel and ignore the kid. I swear. He promised you devilishly, his remark causing you to laugh out loud and stifle it shortly afterwards. Oh, thank you, Chucky. Appreciate it. You thanked him in amusement, giving him a small high five and watching as the taxi pulled up outside the Heelshire estate. The manor was truly a beautiful building, not losing its elegance nor its attractiveness, while the taxi driver came around to the side to take in your things for you. Chucky played dead, and although you didn't mind taking your things in for you, the Heelshires had already paid for someone to take your things in for you, which was pretty considerate, considering you weren't even expecting them to. Apologies, miss, but the Heelshires had to step out for a moment. The taxi driver spoke to you apologetically, sounding regretful and embarrassed at the very same time. They beg your pardon, miss, and ask that you wait in the parlor. It's like something out of a storybook, isn't it? You commented in a breathless voice, standing in the middle of the parlor whilst taking your shoes off in the most respectful manner. It certainly is, he chuckled, agreeing with you while standing in front of the taxi also. Oh, and no need to worry. The Heelshires have already taken care of that for you. I put your things inside for you. Thanks, you replied politely, gratitude flowing through your tone as genuine appreciation, showed. I'll be sure to thank them as soon as possible. Oh, Miss Ellen, it's so nice to finally meet you. A stern voice interrupted your conversation icily, the sharp person intimidating you almost immediately and shutting down the conversation. I've heard so much about you from your friend Rose. I've heard so much about you and your family too, you warmly responded, clasping your hands close to your chest and flashing her a soft-hearted smile. It's such a pleasure to finally meet you as well. Where are your shoes? Miss Heelshire interjected curiously, her question causing you to feel self-conscious and look around. Crap. Had Chucky pulled another prank on you or something? What should you do? That's strange. I was sure that I took them off and left my shoes right here. You mentioned to her anxiously, biting your lip and trying to keep it together. God damn it, Chucky. They'll turn up, don't worry. It's Brahms. He can be playful. Miss Heelshire brought up in a distressed fashion, sounding like she was attempting to hide something important and stay calm. I assume you brought other shoes? Oh, yes. You answered with an unsure expression, not understanding how an 8-year-old could steal your shoes that quickly. Let's hurry up. We've kept them waiting long enough. She remarked uneasily, shifting from foot to foot and acting strange. Let's go, shall we? Of course, you lightly answered, following her upstairs while also glancing at some of the royalty-designed paintings. As soon as Miss Heelshire showed you to your room, Chucky snuck in and hid there, finding his new hiding spot so he didn't have to look anywhere else. Her name is Miss Ellen. She informed Mr. Heelshire once you'd both entered the same room as him and Brahms. We want you to be on your very best behavior. What? We're skipping that. Just Wyan is fine, you kindly revealed, giving them both a warm-hearted smile and trying to be friendly towards the family. I see. Wyan, allow me to introduce Mr. Heelshire. Mrs. Heelshire slowly specified, her steely attitude throwing you off and making you feel slightly uncomfortable. And this is our son, Brahms. Girl, going straight to hell, girl. After laughing, you saw that they were serious. Mr. and Mrs. Heelshire staring at you with confused eyes, but you suddenly saw how rude you were being. Shit! They weren't kidding. Oh God, Jesus Christ. How are you meant to respond? Were you meant to reply like this was normal? Should you? Maybe they're just not right in the head. Perhaps they're just recovering from some sort of hurting situation. Yeah, that had to be it. You shouldn't laugh. That was probably really rude. And why was it rude? Because not only were you laughing at an 8-year-old, you were laughing at an 8-year-old doll. Girl, going straight to hell. I'm telling you, bro. Going straight to hell, bro. Anyways. Chapter 76. Following instructions. It's so nice to finally meet you, Brahms. You politely told him, trying your best to be pleasant in front of the Heelshires. I hope you and I can be friends. Oh, excuse me. Daddy. This is so interesting. I don't know how to say this straight face. Anyways, will you please take Ryan's things up to her room, please? Miss Heelshire asked him in a relieved tone, relaxing her voice after hearing you say that. Ryan, we might as well get started. I have a lot to show you. You'll be out here all alone. Do you think you can manage? Yes, of course I can. You reassured her calmly, not wanting her to worry or stress out. Rose told us that you were reliable. I probably should have given you more credit for actually having more potential than I thought. Calming herself down, she continued speaking, her words bewildering you and throwing you off. Brahms rejected the rest of the nannies, but when Rose showed us what you looked like, he accepted. I guess the others weren't nearly as young or as pretty as you. I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you, you softly replied, following her up the stairs and into Brahms' room. As you should. But anyways, she spoke in a strict attitude, setting Brahms down on the bed before dressing him in his pajamas and lying him under the covers. You'll wake him up at 7 a.m. each morning and you will dress him. You'll find his clean clothes behind you. So should I? So I should? You stammered with embarrassment, suddenly realizing that what Miss Heelshire wanted you to do. Wake him up and dress him, Wyan. There's no better way to learn than doing. The gray-haired woman declared firmly, waiting for you to wake him up and dress him. Wake up, Brahms. You shyly attempted, standing over him and speaking to him in a gentle manner. Well, I don't know about you, but that certainly wouldn't wake me. She insulted you bluntly, her cold-hearted insult cutting into you without fail and making you feel humiliated. It's time to wake up, Brahms? Girl, you hesitantly tried a second time, shaking him as softly as you could and feeling pretty much proud this time around. He's not a baby, Wyan. You needn't be afraid of hurting him. Mrs. Heelshire sighed in almost disappointment, brushing past you and deciding to show you herself. Excuse me. Now, let's show Wyan how we get you dressed. I let her do it herself, but I'm afraid we'd be here all afternoon. Jeez. Not pulling any punches now, are you? You mumbled to yourself under your breath, avoiding her steely glare and now feeling awkward. It's fucking weird as hell. What? Now, Brahms has 3 hours of lessons 5 days a week, and I like to start by reading some poetry. Do you know any, Miss Ellen? She explained respectfully, asking you a question straight afterwards and stiffening you up. I know all the words to green eggs and ham. You jokingly messed around, trying to lighten the atmosphere and stop her from sounding so cold. Well, it doesn't have to be poetry, of course. Any of these books will do, but you must read them in a loud, clear voice. Mrs. Heelshire instructed stressfully, handing you a book from the library while telling you what to do. Yes, of course, you promised with a mellow voice, awkwardness filling your tone when you noticed how serious she was. Yes, of course. You repeated loudly, relief filling her face when she saw how serious you were. Excellent. She happily complimented. Moving on to the next subject and walking over to the record player. Next is music appreciation. Brahms, you must sit up straight, like a good little boy. Mrs. Heelshire scolded him all of a sudden, the 8-year-old slumping over and leaning in the chair. Music, Wyan. I don't know how Brahms would go on without his music. It's his world. Of course. He likes it rather louder than I prefer, but... She carried on before you could say anything, silencing you and speaking about Brahms within a single second. It gives him so much joy. I don't dare take it away from him. I see. So he's into music. We don't throw any food out in this house, Wyan. Do you know what that means? Mrs. Heelshire wondered rigidly, setting Brahms back up straight before explaining herself properly. I'm afraid not. No. You timidly told her, after watching her fix the doll and readjusting his sitting position. It means that we are in constant battle with the outside elements. She severely pointed out, weather, plants, vermin, especially vermin, Wyan. And we take certain measures against them. Oh, hello again, darling. Mr. Heelshire will explain the rest of your duties. Oh, thank you. That's very considerate of you. You responded to Mr. Heelshire courteously, following him into the kitchen and letting him continue. And the food goes in here. Now, I'll show you the traps. Talking to you in a less strict fashion, Mr. Heelshire calmed you down and cheered you up considerably, being less unnerving and much more casual, as we do our best to keep up the house. By the way, we don't use a fireplace anymore. Bit of a hazard. And regrettably, the last tradesman we had he managed to paint the windows shut. Personally, I don't think that all of this is necessary, but Mrs. Heelshire is convinced that the rats will get into the walls. No, I understand. You mentioned quickly, not wanting to sound rude like before and agree with them instead. And Brahms, of course. He's never been very fond of animals. He's always been very shy, you see. Mr. Heelshire uneasily announced, shifting from foot to foot like Miss Heelshire had previously and acting rather unusual. Very timid. So listen, I know how this must look to you, Wyan. And to be completely honest, I'm not sure how it all came to this. Little by little, and then all at once, I suppose. What I'm trying to say is that whatever it might look like on the outside, our son is here. He's very much with us. Do you understand, Wyan? Chapter 77. Third person view. Yes, you answered sincerely, giving Mr. Heelshire an honest nod while walking alongside him outside. Good, all good. That's very good. He sighed in relief, walking you back inside and seeing Mrs. Heelshire tucking Brahms back into bed, speaking to him once again. Gentle Jesus, meek and mild, look upon a little child. Mr. and Mrs. Heelshire started in a strained tone, speaking almost in a pained voice and sounding sad. Pity my simplicity. Suffer me to come to thee. God bless Mommy. Mrs. Heelshire blessed quietly, glancing at Mr. Heelshire before you shortly afterwards. God bless Daddy. Mr. Heelshire wearily added, his distressed facial expression making you feel uneasy and on edge. God bless Wyan. Miss Heelshire brought up sweetly, and God bless me. Amen. Amen. Mr. Heelshire thanked once they completed the prayer and got Brahms ready for bed. You were such a good boy today, Brahms. You behaved like a little gentleman. Mrs. Heelshire complimented him lovingly, cuddling the doll and talking to him just like a real mother would do to her son. Mommy is so proud of you. Feeling out of place and uncomfortable, you caught your head together and waited for Mrs. Heelshire to speak to you, to give you the final verdict. The old woman turning around and flashing you a stern gaze moments after. Could you give us a moment alone to speak to Brahms privately? Yeah, sure. You replied at once, hurriedly leaving the room and standing in the hallway instead. I think she's lovely. You heard out of nowhere, a third voice startling you and causing you to jump. Hold on. A third voice? Who was that? Who was in the room? He wants you, Miss Ellen. Miss Heelshire told you when she swept back into the hallway. He's chosen you, if you'll have him. I don't know. This whole thing is just creepy. You told to Chucky in an intimidated voice, shivering while you lied back in bed after unpacking. How come? He curiously questioned, not understanding why you were so unnerved and disencouraged. A huge house in the middle of nowhere, no neighbors, and the windows don't even open. No cell service, no Wi-Fi. And and what about talking, taking advantage of them? You brought up anxiously, hugging your knees and feeling mean. Okay, well, the huge house with no neighbors, no cell service, and no Wi-Fi is kind of creepy. I'll give you that. But you're not taking advantage of them. You've just been paid to babysit their doll. Chucky tried to comfort you with in amusement, sitting on the edge of your bed and swinging his legs like a little kid himself. You could see the way they talk. You should see the way they talk to it. You spoke with a troubled tone, tucking a stray string of hair behind your ear before carrying on with the conversation. Yeah, it's a little creepy, but it's only for a week, ain't it? Then you go home. The red-haired doll cheered you up thoughtfully, his words giving you comfort and making you feel better regardless. Yeah, you're right. I guess I'm just nervous. You truthfully told him, stiffling on as you swiftly felt fatigued. They didn't seem too impressed with me today. How so? What was their deal? Chucky asked quizzily, leaning next to you before creating his own side of the bed. They just kept insulting me every time I couldn't do something right. You sighed in shame, flicking the lamp off and curling around to face Chucky straight on. It was absolutely humiliating. Oh, so they're a pair of lovers with a stick up their ass. He insulted them back rudely, his feisty remark causing you to laugh in return and nod without thinking. Yeah, I guess you could say that. You chuckled back, his sharp retort calming you down and giving you something to focus on. See? All better. Chucky grinned with a shrug, not caring how rude he was reacting or how he was behaving. Well, good night, Chucky. See you in the morning. You sleepily spoke, wrapping your arms around his body and feeling more comfortable with him than Brahms. Whoa, 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 just what the fuck are you doing there? He explained in alarm, pushing away and panicking out of nowhere. Hold on, haven't you ever had a hug before? You inquired inquisitively, his sudden freakout confusing you and entertaining you instead. My childhood was very messed up. Chucky defensively muttered, avoiding eyesight and acting almost as if he didn't know what to do. Hey, it's all right. You replied with a sympathetic attitude, giving him another hug and trying again. It just means that I can show you another one. Will you let me? Sure, I guess I don't care. It's whatever, you know. You huffed annoyedly. His personality changing the moment you offered. Doesn't matter to me. Of course it doesn't. You smiled dryly, deciding to hug Chucky and say goodnight one final time. Night, big boy. Yeah, night. Chucky mumbled, becoming embarrassed and accepting the hug. So do I get a hug or nah? A wicked voice hummed slightly. Oh, not this asshole, bruh. Cutting in the conversation during your dreams and forcing you to roll your eyes. You can get fucked. You sarcastically decided, watching as a familiar dream demon materialized on top of you and pinned you down on a bed. Great. I've been waiting for you to say that for ages. The dirty-minded male purred angelically, his smirk widening while you raised your brows at his reaction. How did I know you were going to say that? You dramatically spoke in fake disappointment, shaking your head and secretly enjoying the sudden attention he was giving to you. I'd say you were a pretty stupid bitch if you didn't know. Freddie mocked with malice, his sharp tongue taunting you without any sort of thought or care. Wow, rude. I want an apology now, mister. Or you can go and sit on the stairs. You smirked back. What the? I'm not looking in. Not giving a single shit about how he was treating you. Think about what you've done. No. He retaliated mischievously, running his finger knives through your colored locks before caressing your hair. Make me. I would, but you're lying on top of me. You cleverly stated, deciding to be a smartass and point out the obvious. Sorry, but facts are the facts. Oh, someone's a feisty little girl tonight. I like it. The demonic slasher cooed sweetly, grasping your wrist with his other hand while he also grew amused by your mood. Well, I know. I love it. He seductively murmured, his turned on state being fairly recognizable as your heart rate decided to increase on its own. Can you at least try to control yourself when you lose it? You quizzed Freddie with sarcasm of your own, pushing him backwards and sitting up by yourself so his flirtatious state could calm down. Grinning, his green-colored eyes glinted darkly. The smug male opposite of you, shaking his head just like you had a few moments earlier. No, he answered alluringly. I don't want to control myself. So, you can't make me. Nah, bro. You know what he reminds me of? Oh, Princess! And the little crispy little slap in the background for real. Oh my goodness. All right, y'all. So, um, he reminds me so much of that guy. But anyway, what do you guys think is going to happen in the next chapter? Do you think that YN and Freddie are going to get a little feisty, or is something going to happen that prevents said scene or said thing from happening? Let me know in the comments down below. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more amazing videos, guys. As for a bit of side notes, your girl has applied for a couple jobs. Both went really well. I already got one offer. As for the other, I'm kind of waiting on that one because it has more benefits and whatnot. You know, girls just living life and getting into adulthood. Crazy, am I right? Also, I'm gonna also be getting a new device, which is so nice. So, period. It might look exactly the same for you guys, but I just want to share the little announcement because it made me like super happy. But I hope you guys have anyways, for the side notes, I hope you guys have an amazing Christmas or Hanukkah or anything that you guys celebrate. If you don't celebrate any of that, I hope you guys have an amazing day, month, year, and whatnot. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be I'm not sure if I'm gonna be uploading a video soon after this one, but we'll have to see. I think I am because I pre-recorded, so we'll see. Probably I am. But if I don't, I shall see y'all next year. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for your support, and I can't wait to post another video after this one. Tee hee. Anyways, bye and peace, y'all.